It is a routine you have likely performed thousands of times. You walk into your kitchen, you place your favorite frying pan on the burner, you turn up the heat, and you crack an egg. It slides around effortlessly, not sticking for a second. For the last 40 years, we've been told that this non-stick convenience is the ultimate kitchen miracle. But what if I told you that as that pan heats up and as that familiar black coating ages, it is releasing something invisible into the air and into your food that could be silently contributing to that brain fog you have been worried about? We often blame our forgetfulness on simply getting older, but new science suggests that the culprit might not be your age, it might be your cookware. I am Dr. Emily Hart, and I'm here to help you protect your health with wisdom, not worry. We are going to navigate this kitchen confusion together so you can cook your family's favorite meals knowing you're nourishing their bodies, not burdening their brains. Before we open up the cupboards, I would love to connect with you. Tell me in the comments, what is the one dish your family asks you to make over and over again? I love hearing about the recipes that bring us together. And while you're typing that out, please consider subscribing to join our community of women who are rewriting the rules of aging. Now, let's talk about that skillet. To understand why your trusty non-stick pan might be a hidden enemy, we have to look at what makes it non-stick in the first place. For decades, the magic ingredient has been a chemical commonly known as PTFE, or Teflon. When it's brand new, it's sleek and shiny. But think about the pan you use every morning. It probably has a few battle scars, doesn't it? Maybe a scratch from a metal spatula, or a dull batch where you scrubbed a little too hard. This brings us to what I call the flaking effect. I want you to think of the coating on your pan like the skin on your nose after a bad sunburn. When skin gets damaged, it peels. The same thing happens to chemical coatings. When a non-stick pan is subjected to years of high heat, especially if you have ever accidentally left it on the burner while empty, and the abrasion of cooking utensils, the chemical bond begins to break down. Those microscopic flakes of plastic and chemical coating don't just disappear, they end up in your scrambled eggs. But the even more concerning part is what happens to the air you breathe. When these pans overheat or the surface is compromised, they off-gas. They release invisible fumes containing chemical particles. You can't smell them and you can't see them, but they are entering your system every time you make breakfast. And while we used to think these chemicals just passed through us, we now know that they have a very specific and worrying target in our bodies. So how do these invisible fumes connect to your memory? This is where the biology gets fascinating and a little urgent. Our brains are protected by a brilliant defense system called the blood-brain barrier. Think of it like a very strict bouncer at an exclusive club. Its job is to let the good things in, like oxygen and nutrients, and keep the bad things out, like toxins and bacteria. When we were 30, our bouncer was young, strong, and eagle-eyed. It caught almost everything. But as we mature, that barrier naturally becomes a little more permeable. The bouncer gets a little tired. He might let a few things slip past the velvet rope that he would have stopped 20 years ago. When we inhale or ingest the breakdown products of PTFE and other forever chemicals found in degraded cookware, these neurotoxins can cross that barrier. Once they are in the brain, they can create inflammation. Inflammation in the brain doesn't feel like a swollen ankle. It feels like senior fog. It feels like walking into a room and forgetting why you were there, or struggling to find the right word in a conversation. Research is increasingly connecting environmental toxins to these cognitive slips. We're learning that what we touch and breathe has a direct line to how we think. Now, I want to share a fact with you that genuinely shocked me when I first learned it, and it usually sparks a huge discussion. This is our "wait, really?" moment. Did you know that manufacturers of traditional nonstick pans actually carry a warning that you should never keep pet birds in or near the kitchen? It is true. Canaries and parrots have incredibly sensitive respiratory systems. The fumes from an overheating nonstick pan can be fatal to a bird in a matter of minutes. It's a known phenomenon called Teflon toxicity in veterinary medicine. If these fumes are potent enough to harm a bird across the room, we have to ask ourselves, what are they doing to us, the cooks standing right over the stove, day after day, year after year? That's a heavy thought, I know. But the good news is, you can take control of this immediately. You don't need a doctor's appointment, you just need to do an audit. We are going to do the scratch test together. I want you to pause this video if you need to, go to your kitchen and pull out your most used frying pan. Bring it into the light. Put on your reading glasses if you need them. I want you to look closely at the surface. What do you see? If the surface looks like the cratered moon, we have a problem. Look for what I call pepper spots. If the pan is gray or black, but you see tiny, lighter flecks, that is where the coating has chipped away. Where did those chips go? Into the food. Run your fingernail gently across the bottom. Can you feel grooves? Can you feel deep scratches? If you can feel the texture of the damage, that pan has crossed the line from a useful tool to a potential health hazard. A scratch in a nonstick pan isn't just a cosmetic blemish. It is an open wound releasing chemicals. If your pan fails the scratch test, I give you full permission right now to throw it away. Do not donate it, do not give it to the thrift store. If it is not safe for you, it is not safe for anyone. Wrap it up and let it go. It has served its purpose, but your health is worth more than a $20 skillet. But this leaves us with a gaping hole in the cupboard. You might be thinking, Dr. Emily, if I toss my easy-to-clean pans, am I going to be stuck scrubbing dishes for hours or trying to lift heavy pots that hurt my wrists? This is a valid fear. Many of us moved away from traditional cookware because it felt like too much work. But I have some wonderful news. The alternatives available today are either vastly improved or misunderstood classics that are actually secret weapons for your health. Let's start by revisiting a classic, cast iron. Now, I can hear some of you sighing already. Cast iron is too heavy. It's impossible to clean. You can't use soap. I want to gently bust those myths. Yes, cast iron has weight to it, but think of the benefits. Cast iron is virtually indestructible. It doesn't have a chemical coating to scratch off. In fact, the non-stick surface on cast iron is made of polymerized oil, natural fats that bake into the iron. It is completely non-toxic. And here is a secret bonus for women our age. Cooking in cast iron actually releases small amounts of dietary iron into your food. If you have been feeling fatigued or low energy, your eggs cooked in cast iron can actually help boost your levels. It is the only cookware that is also a nutritional supplement. As for cleaning, the modern consensus is that a little bit of mild soap is absolutely fine. You don't have to treat it like an ancient artifact. However, I know that for many of us with arthritis or weaker wrists, lifting a 10-pound skillet isn't practical. If you cannot lift the pan comfortably with one hand, it is not the right tool for you, no matter how safe it is. We need to preserve your joints too. So, if cast iron is too heavy and Teflon is too toxic, what is the Goldilocks solution? What is just right? Enter the modern miracle, ceramic cookware. You may have seen these pans in stores. They're often white, cream, or pretty pastel colors on the inside. But this isn't just about aesthetics. True ceramic cookware uses a technology called soul gel, which is derived from sand. Yes, plain old sand. The scientific name is silicon dioxide. When you cook on high-quality ceramic, you're essentially cooking on a layer of glass or stone. It is naturally slippery, so your eggs still slide right off, but it contains no PTFE and no PFOA. If you accidentally overheat a ceramic pan, it won't release toxic fumes. It might damage the pan eventually, but it won't damage your brain. These pans are lightweight, much lighter than cast iron, and they are incredibly easy to clean. A soft sponge and warm water are all you usually need. However, there is a catch you need to know. Because ceramic is more natural, it is a little more delicate than the old chemical pans. You cannot bang a metal spoon on the side. You need to use silicone or wooden utensils. And, this is the big one, you must let the pan cool down completely before you wash it. If you take a hot ceramic pan and plunge it into cold water, it can crack. Thermal shock is the enemy here. But think of it this way. Treating your cookware with a little gentleness is a small price to pay for knowing that the air in your kitchen is clean. There is also stainless steel. If you bake or boil, stainless steel is the king. It is non-reactive, durable, and safe. The trick to making it non-stick: heat the pan before you add the oil. If you let the pan get hot enough that a drop of water dances on the surface like a mercury bead, your food won't stick. It takes a little practice, but it makes you feel like a professional chef. Making the switch can feel overwhelming. You don't have to replace everything today. Start with the pan you use the most, the daily driver. If you replace just that one frying pan with a ceramic or cast iron alternative, you have eliminated 80% of your exposure to those flaking chemicals. I want you to look at this change not as a chore or an expense, but as an investment in your independence. We talk a lot about doing crossword puzzles and learning new languages to keep our brains sharp, but protecting your brain physically by removing neurotoxins from your environment is just as powerful. Imagine cooking dinner a year from now. You are using a beautiful ceramic pan. The air smells like garlic and onions, not chemical fumes. You feel confident. You feel clear-headed. You're nurturing yourself and your loved ones with every meal. That is the power of a safe kitchen. So here's your homework. Go do that scratch test. Be honest with yourself about what you find. And if you decide to buy a new pan, look for the labels PTFE free and PFOA free. If you found this information helpful, please share this video with a friend or a sister. We often don't talk about these things, but we should. Let's help each other stay sharp and healthy. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I'm Dr. Emily Hart. Remember, a healthy brain starts with a safe home. You have the power to make that change today. Take care, and I will see you in the next video.